Have you ever heard of a man so feared that emperors whispered his name with trembling lips? A man who never lost a single battle, not against men, not against kingdoms, not even against fate itself. This is the story of Khalid ibn al-Walid, the sword of Allah. He was born in the powerful Quraysh tribe of Makkah, the same tribe as Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. From childhood, he was forged for war. While other boys played, Khalid learned to ride horses, wield swords, and lead men. Strength, courage, and strategy were in his blood. But before he became a hero of Islam, he was its enemy. At the Battle of Uhud, Khalid led the cavalry of Quraysh and turned near defeat into victory against the Muslims. His tactics broke their ranks and changed the course of the battle. The man who once struck fear into believers would one day fight beside them. Destiny just wasn't ready yet. Years later, something began to change inside him. He watched as Islam spread with discipline and unity. While his tribe's pride crumbled, he saw that Muhammad's message wasn't just a call to war, it was a call to truth. The arrogance of the Quraysh could not hide what Khalid's heart already knew, so he made a decision that would alter history forever. He left Makkah and rode across the burning desert toward Medina. When he entered the Prophet's presence, the messenger smiled and said, "A man like Khalid cannot remain ignorant of truth for long." From that moment, Khalid ibn al-Walid became the sword of Allah, not just a warrior, but a weapon guided by faith. His first test came almost immediately, the Battle of Mu'tah. 3,000 Muslims faced 200,000 Byzantines. One commander after another fell. The army was collapsing. Then Khalid took command. He moved like lightning, attacking from one flank, retreating, striking again from another, creating chaos until the Romans thought the Muslims had endless reinforcements. By nightfall, he led his men to safety. The Prophet, upon hearing the news, said, "Khalid is the sword of Allah, unsheathed against the enemies of God." From then on, victory followed wherever he went. When Arabia was shaken by rebellion after the Prophet's passing, Khalid crushed the false prophets and united the tribes once again. His tactics were ruthless but precise, fast, unexpected, and devastating. He would ride days without rest, strike before dawn, and vanish before the enemy could react. Then came the great empires, Persia and Byzantium, ancient powers that thought the desert Arabs were no threat. They were wrong. Khalid marched his armies through scorching sands and endless plains, fighting battles that read like legends. Ulis, Yamama, Firaz, and Yarmouk. At Yarmouk, his army was outnumbered 5-1, yet he turned the Roman lines into ruins. He used terrain, wind, dust, and psychology as weapons. The Byzantines, once masters of warfare, could not understand how one man predicted every move they made. Khalid's mind was his sharpest sword. He knew when to strike and when to disappear. He used small forces to appear large, divided troops to confuse enemies, and always attacked from where they least expected. His soldiers said, "When Khalid leads, victory walks beside us." But power never corrupted him. When Caliph Umar removed him from command, some expected rebellion. Instead, Khalid bowed his head and said, "I fight for Allah, not for Umar." The same general who had commanded tens of thousands now served as an ordinary soldier, proof that his loyalty was never to glory but to God. Years passed. The conquest continued, but even swords of steel grow weary. Khalid ibn al-Walid, undefeated in 100 battles, finally lay dying, not on the battlefield, but on his simple bed. His body was covered with scars from every war he had fought. Tears filled his eyes as he whispered, "I fought in so many battles that not an inch of my body is free from a wound. Yet here I am, dying like a camel." The greatest warrior of Islam did not fear death. He feared dying without martyrdom, yet his legacy became eternal. His victories united Arabia, shattered empires, and opened paths for generations of faith and civilization. Khalid ibn al-Walid was more than a commander. He was strategy, speed, and faith combined. He proved that true power lies not in numbers but in conviction. His sword never broke, his will never faltered, his belief never wavered. Centuries may have passed, but the echo of his name still rides across history. Khalid ibn al-Walid, the sword of Allah, never defeated, never forgotten.